Hi, I'm Dr. Paul Haefner. Welcome to Sports Psych in a Minute, your weekly resource for insights and tips into the psychological side of equestrian sport. Over the weekend, I did a seminar on goal setting and goal attainment, and one of the questions that came up is, given that almost anything that we do with horses gets interrupted in some way, whether it's an issue with a horse, an injury, weather, equipment failures, all kinds of things happen to interrupt us on our pathways to reach our goals. People were saying, well, why bother? Why bother if you know that these things are going to happen? So, two thoughts based on that I wanted to share with you this week. The first one is the question, or the answer to the question, why bother, has a lot to do with what motivates us. If we're being motivated by things that are external to us, if we're doing this because someone else wants us to do it, a trainer wants us to do it, or a family member wants us to do it, or our partner wants us to do it, then when we get to that point of repeated frustrations, it gets really hard to answer that question, why bother? Because the answer to that question is we're bothering not because of something that we want to do, but because something that someone else wants us to do. Internal motivations are those motivations that when we ask ourselves the question, why, we end up with the answer because. Just like, why is butter pecan my favorite ice cream? It is because. Why do you like it? Because I do. These kinds of motivations are the kinds of motivations that carry us through. If we are engaged in our equestrian pursuits because of internal motivations, our passions, because we really want to do it, and we can't really explain why we want to do it, but we really, really want to do it, then those motivations carry us through. The other thing which this brings up is this idea of resilience. When we have an strong internal motivation, then it also supports us in our resilience, which is our ability to be flexible, adaptable, bounce back, energize ourselves, getting back on track when all of these things come. These kinds of interruptions happen on our pathways to our goals. In the end, I think it's helpful to be aware that these things are connected. When we're thinking about goals and we're thinking about goal attainment, then it's also important to remember that they are tied and connected to our motivations, and it's also helpful to remember that when we anchor our motivations in those parts of the things that motivate us, which are internal, that come from inside of ourselves, then we are going to be on the most solid footing and most likely to persevere.